All right, so today we're going to talk about practice and history, action. How we go from that level that we were talking about last time, structuralism, and up to the level of talking about things that people actually do. Because remember, structuralism, there's a distinction between longue and parole. The real object of linguistics is to understand language, not particular acts of speech. In a similar way, Lévi-Strauss proposed that the real object of anthropology is not to understand any particular statement, but that shared capacity for meaning in a given culture that makes it possible for someone to understand a statement, someone to witness a ritual and get whatever it is they're supposed to be getting out of it. So that exists outside of time in a certain sense, or it has to be imagined as existing outside of time. And now, as we've seen, I assume we have last term, structural functionalism also had its problems of time and change, right? Traditionally, especially British anthropology had a tendency to look at what they call the geopolitical domain, essentially things that always happen the same. They defined politics as succession to high office, as sort of dynastic cycles, basically things that repeat. So it's not really history at all, insofar as history is a story of change, unique events that transform people's lives. They were really interested in the way that things don't change. And that makes a lot of sense, considering the colonial context in which these things happen, where they wanted, colonial officials, governments wanted anthropologists above all to tell them what the cultural principles underlying local political and judicial forms were, because under systems of indirect rule, those things were supposed to maintain themselves in a timeless equilibrium. So we can say, okay, these people are the newer, what is newer law like? Well, code newer law and have newer authorities enforce newer law. So actual historical events which fundamentally change things were, under colonial regimes, illegal. If you tried to meet and form a political party, they could arrest you. And frequently did. So the side effect of that was very paradoxical in a way. Because on the one hand, people like Vladimir Brown, Malinowski, they say, well, we're scientists. We're trying to understand things that are predictable, quantifiable, that we could write down little charts and diagrams and say that we understand how the system works. This is a social science.